Hey, what's up? My name's Austin. Today we're going to be talking about token maxing because that's what I do. I've spent like, I don't know, maybe lifetime 30, 40 billion tokens at this point, probably 20K plus in compute. So I've spent quite a few tokens and learned a lot of things along the way. And in scaling my own operations, I've been wanting and asking myself the question, how do you or other companies how do you or other companies run 100+ agents, right? Because you see this in the headlines. You see this in the news. Mass layoffs at Meta. Mass layoffs, right? Because they hired AI agents. Okay, cool. But how do you actually do that? In my experience, it's tough to run even 5 agents. You got people like the BridgeMind AI guy who's running like 12 Claude codes, and that's good. But how do you actually run 100, right? How do you actually scale past where you want to go? Now, the first thing you're going to need for that is compute. So that's why I have the MacBook or the Mac Mini here, because I myself was considering, do I just need another computer so I can put all my agents on it? And the conclusion I came to was, no, you don't. You do not need a Mac Mini at all. So what do you need? Well, I'll show you. What you need is one of these. This is a AX41, and it costs $45 a month, $47 setup fee, not too crazy. You get 12 threads, 6 cores, 64 gigs of RAM, and 2 NVMe drives. Guys, that is super cheap, okay? Especially with the processing power getting better every single year, there is no reason why you should be buying a computer in this market. And if you're one of those people who just cares about a local, then click away, because this is not the video for you. If you want to run 100 agents or 200 agents, you're going to need a lot more compute. I run maybe 12 to 10 Claude codes simultaneously on my MacBook. It's got 24 gigs of RAM, but we really need that 64 and also the multi-threaded processor. Now you can go even higher, right? You can go 20 threads. You can get a machine for $100 a month. But if you think about it, if you spend $2,000 on a MacBook, you're getting, way more compute under probably the period that you're going to be using the computer. So even over a period of a year, you're only going to be using about $600. So you would have to use this for 3 years to even come close to buying a MacBook, right? So with that in mind, I highly recommend, if you're going to try to run 100 agents or just try to scale your AI operations, then you're going to need a VPS, right? And this is not going to be a video that's talking about OpenClaw and Hermes agent, whatever it is, that you need a VPS. No. This is, you need a VPS so that you have the raw compute so you can run 100 agents, whether they're Hermes, whether they're OpenClaw, whether they're Claude and Codex. Now, I think it's a lot easier to just go with the old faithful old standard stuff like Claude Desktop. It can do everything. And what I'm going to show you in this video is how to create an AI workspace. So let me introduce to you this idea of AI workspace. So currently, how a lot of companies work is we have the company and there's documents, stuff inside here. Just imagine maybe there's Google Drive, right? Maybe there's Dropbox. Maybe they have something like ClickUp, right? A lot of people use that, but there's basically many things distributed in this company, and they kind of don't work well with all the employees, right? And if you want to shift your organization from a organization that doesn't leverage AI to an organization that does leverage AI to its fullest potential, then I'll show you what it should look like. But currently, each worker is getting context from the company, right? Maybe from Google Drive, maybe they download documents, whatever it is. They then talk to their computer, and on their computer, they use AI, right? Whether it's a local model or whether they're talking to Claude. And that's the loop, right? Now, in between any one of these things, something can break, right? If a document gets updated, then is everyone going to know about it? No, they're probably not going to know about it. And now, when they ask AI questions, they're going to have to be very, very careful to feed the right context. So how do you solve this problem at scale for lots of employees, right? Or even just a small team of 5, right? If you've tried to build your own AI system, you probably invested a lot of money and probably haven't gotten anywhere because it's expensive to test all these things, and it requires a really developed view of AI. So here's what we should be doing, right? Imagine the company, the computer, and AI were all together, right? So instead of having everything distributed, where workers work on their own computers and talk to AI, now everyone is talking to the same computer, the same company, the same AI, right? So let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so I'm in something called Nextcloud. Okay, Nextcloud is sort of like this Google Drive alternative, right? And if we take a look at some of the stuff in here, they seed a bunch of documents for you. But what you can do is you can come into here and open up documents, and this is all on the same computer, right? So multiple people could come in here and edit stuff, work on it. And you're probably asking now, well, I can already do that with Google Docs, so why should I do this? Well, the reason is because now you can connect your Claude to this and have it talk to it and get all the updates at the exact same time. And yes, you could be using the MCP servers, but guess what? There's another problem, which is what if you want to manipulate the files with Claude Code or download the files? It starts to become very complex at scale when you have a lot of moving parts with Google Docs, Google Drive, with various different documents, various different folders. So it's nice to have everything compiled in like one place, right? So there's the files, there's also photos, activity, there's a bunch of stuff at Office, but this is just really, you can think of it as a file store. Now, here's the thing that's different, right? This isn't a website. This is not an online app. This is connected directly to a VPS on Hetzner, right? So we have one of these and we set up Nextcloud on it. I'll just show you what Nextcloud is here. You can see it here, but it's basically a private sort of Microsoft 365 alternative. And after using this, it's been really nice to have all the documents in the same place, have AI, have reach over those documents, have multiple people be able to connect and configure their AI workspace so that we all have the same exact context. And what is this useful for? Well, most of the work that I do involves making ads and marketing. So this is an example avatar that we created with GPT, right? And this isn't anything new, right? You can make this, you can figure out how to do this. GPT image is extremely good. But the thing is how do you organize it in such a way where everyone can be on the same page? I can take my knowledge of what I'm creating and bring that to someone else, right? How do we do that at scale? This is how we're going to do it, right? And let's talk about now the last step, which is how do you get everyone on board, right? How do you get everyone on board? So we covered the company, we sort of covered the computer. Now, how do we do the AI, right? Because let's say you have 10 employees or a team of 5, and you want all of them to connect to this, right? And I can make a video later going over like Hetzner setup and everything, because I'm just doing this for an agency right now. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. So to show you what the next part is, it is this. All right, so it's nothing crazy, guys. It's just Claude Desktop, right? But it's something special. So there's something called an SSH connection. And if you don't know what an SSH connection is, all it really means is you're connecting to a server. Could be your own computer, could be someone else's. Most of the time it's your computer and you want it to only be your computer, right? But Claude Code actually has this ability for you to do this. So if we jump over to Claude Code, there's a bunch of stuff in here, right? But if you come down here, it says where Claude runs, and you can click here and then you can configure an environment. So I have one set up called JoeBox, right? And that's my server. And here are the things that you need, right? You need the name, you need the SSH host, you need the port, and you need the identity file, okay? You don't really need to know what any of these are, to be honest. All that you need to know is they make up the keys that connect to the server, right? So what you're going to do is just literally copy and paste this, okay? I tell people to copy and paste all the time, and it's the best way to prompt, right? So just copy and paste all of that into Claude and say, hey, set this up for me, right? That's how you're going to do it. So that's pretty much it. Now, what you can do here is, this is just like a test, right? And if I say hello, this is actually running on the other computer. This is not running on my local computer. It's running on this Joe box, right? So it's very useful if you want to collaborate on various things, because now multiple people can work on Claude Code simultaneously on the same device. So yeah, as you can see, it took a little bit to get the response, but we got it right here. And now what you can do is you can set up a company computer where you can have access to API keys, you can have access to company documents, at least just context, so that people can all be on the same page. And now when people work, their work records can get recorded in real time on Claude and on the Nextcloud. And this, I believe, is going to be the future of how people work. Currently, if you manage a team or agency, you'll probably know that everything is disjointed. Getting AI to do anything for you is like a massive engineering task, and it's because everything's spread out. Now, once everything is centralized, I guarantee that this is so much easier. So what we can do with that is come over here. We have our avatars. We built a script. We got the HeyGen file. We got the voiceover. We even got the B-roll, right? And now we can just put this together. And this was all generated via the Claude desktop, right? It was actually generated on my phone. So that's another thing that you can do, right? And let me just show you the phone session. So I don't know if you can see this phone session, but yeah, what I said is make some UGC avatars. Actually, let me just record this. What? So yeah, basically I said, make some UGC avatars, blonde women, moms, or guys for personal estate lawyer ads. They should look like people who are into that stuff, generate 6 variations and upload them so I can preview. Right? That's all I said to Claude, and it was just right on my phone. And honestly, if you work in an agency or if you run an agency, you should be using a system like this. And it is not too hard to set up. I'll have a different video about setting it all up, but I just wanted to introduce to you this idea of how to create an AI native workspace where multiple people can work on the same exact thing at the same exact time. Now, obviously, this is useful for a lot of things. It could be useful for engineering. It could be useful for sales teams. It could be useful for so many different things. And all you have to do is get over this hurdle of what's SSH, get a VPS, and installing the Claude desktop. So that's about it. Just wanted to introduce this idea of AI workspace, kind of show what's working for me in my AI workflow, scaling to this 100 agents, right? Because there's one more step here. So there's a program called Linear, right? Linear. It's an app. It's for developers mostly, but I think it's really about developing a product. It's about building stuff. It's about doing stuff, right? And it's very good in organizing problems and initiatives, projects, that kind of thing, right? So it can be used as a system of record for AI, and it works natively with Claude and Codex. Now, why did we go through all the trouble of setting up the same computer? And how are we going to launch 100 agents? Well, the answer is Claude is going to control a team of Claudes or Codexes, right? So I could jump on here and say, hey, I want you to run a team of Claudes and Codexes, 10 agents, diving deep into site research, right? Something like this. Now, you can do this by setting up the VPS, and you can only do this by setting up the VPS. You could do it on your own computer, but then you're going to burn all your RAM, and maybe your computer dies like mine. So that's basically how you're going to run the 100 agents. Now, how these are spawned and how they're controlled, there's a lot more things going on. You can use Linear to track your progress with the Claudes and Codexes and have tasks for them. Essentially, Claude becomes your manager, right? And I want, if you're thinking about making an AI native workspace for your team, you need to start thinking about AI as a manager, not as an executor of things. It can be an executor as well, but your main entry point into AI is going to be by manager, because us humans, I certainly can't manage 100 people, but I know my Claude manager can, right? So that's how you need to start thinking about work. And the whole reason that we've been setting up all of this, right? So that now AI on our VPS, right? And because we have 64 gigs of RAM, we can really overload it and go hard. I've ran like 50 browsers concurrently on it, which is really nice for like scraping and stuff like that. So this vastly makes working with agents a lot easier, a lot more. You can use different people to run different agents, right? You could have each worker running a team of 5 to 10 agents. That's how companies are scaling with hundreds and hundreds of agents, right? And by the way, this is the entry level machine. This is where it starts. So you can get a machine that has 250 gigabytes of RAM, right? And has 96 threads. You can run 500 agents if you want, 1,000 agents if you want, right? All you need to do is actually have the work to fill 1,000 agents. And for most teams, they don't have that work, right? But for the teams that do, this is the way that you can set it up. So yeah, I'll make a follow-up video for this showing how to set everything up. But I just wanted to introduce this idea and explain how to actually scale to 100 agents, right? So yeah, let me know if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. See ya.